How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today I'm going to compare these two soft coolers and see how long they can keep drinks cool. On one side I have the YETI Hopper Flip 12, which holds 12 cans. On this side I have the RTIC 12 can soft cooler, except you can see it's slightly smaller than the YETI. There's a huge price difference between the two. The YETI is more than 2.5 times the price of this one. YETI is more well known. People perceive it as more durable and it can keep things really cool for longer. But we'll test this out to see if this is really true. Both of them have the shoulder straps. The YETI also have hooks in the front that allows you to adorn it with other kinds of accessories. You can add things like a bottle opener. You have 6 hooks in the front, 6 hooks in the back, and there's also this little felt material that allows you to stick a Velcro thing on this logo here. The YETI's buckles is a little bit thicker, seems a little bit heavier duty compared to this one from RTIC. There's a handle on the right side. They also both have handles on the left side. The YETI has a handle on the top, whereas the RTIC does not. If you want to put anything on top, this handle sort of gets in the way. Versus the RTIC, it's completely flat. Although you can put a cutting board on this one because the lip comes up a little bit. It's just that you have something that's in the middle here that's in the way. The zipper opens up from the right to the left on the YETI, whereas on the RTIC, it opens up from the left to the right. The YETI has this very large gauge zippered teeth. Notice that it's doubled up on the inside and outside, so it's double zippered. Whereas on the RTIC, it's a regular zipper and it's a single row. When you look at the lid, it's noticeably thicker on the RTIC. The lid is where it loses the most energy, so this being thicker might actually help it last longer than the YETI. However, when you open these up, the internal size on the YETI is 11 versus 9, 8 versus 7.5. The depth is 7 3/4 versus 7 3/4. This thicker insulation will keep you from sort of overstuffing these coolers. You can overstuff the YETI a little bit more than the RTIC. In the RTIC, there's a little zipper area in the front. It opens up pretty easily, but it's a very thin pocket, so you can't put that much in here, maybe papers only. Let's fill up the YETI here. It really does fit 12 cans. You don't have to stack it in any way, and after this we can still put in a bunch of ice to keep it cooler for longer. In the RTIC, they do say this is a 12 can cooler. I'm having a little hard time putting 12 cans in here. I can try to shove this in there, but it doesn't work. So it's 9 cans on the bottom. So putting 12 cans in here, you kind of have to stack them. You could actually put 13 cans, 14 cans in here if you really fill it up. And in the YETI, if you really cheat as well, we've squeezed in 18 cans. To be fair, I'm going to put in an equal number of cans, 11 in the YETI, 10, 11 in the RTIC, and I'm going to put equal weights of ice cubes inside both coolers. This is 1 pound, 5.2 ounces, 1 pound, 5.2 ounces, another 10 ounces, 10 ounces, 11 cans of soda in both of them, roughly equal amounts of ice. Close them up. I'm going to put the temperature probes on, wait 24 hours to see how long it keeps things cool. I'm going to put one of the probes right in the middle of all the cans, another probe in the RTIC, tape it here, make sure it doesn't move. And I'll put another probe right in the center, as well as on the RTIC. Channel 1 and 2 is YETI. Inside is 32.8. 65.7 outside. The channel 3 is inside the RTIC, 36.9 degrees. 4 is outside the RTIC. The temperature internally should equalize a lot better later on. This might just be an initial shock, or like me placing the probe not exactly right on an ice cube, so this is a little bit lower. But as the ice cubes melt, the temperature should not be so different. In total, I collected data for about 27 hours. I took data every single minute. The blue line at the bottom is the YETI, the gray line is the RTIC. The YETI, you can see that it's increasing at a rate that's a little bit faster than the RTIC. Strictly speaking, you want your drinks to be around 38 to 42 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's just call that 40. If you look at the very end, the YETI was able to keep drinks cool for about 22 hours, whereas the RTIC can extend that a little bit. 2 hours more. Most of the time when you're using these things, you just bring it to a picnic or whatnot. You're never going to see the difference in performance between the two. Very little difference because, you know, that's about 10% longer. So performance-wise, it's very similar. And you might argue that, you know, you might want the YETI, even though is close to 2.5 times the price. I personally think that it can last longer. The yellow line is the top of the RTIC. The green line is the top of the YETI. The YETI is a little bit cooler on the top than the RTIC. YETI, that means it's losing the cool from inside a little bit faster than the RTIC, and this corresponds with my temperature measurements in the inside. You might see that how come it suddenly spiked up after 14 hours. That's just due to the ambient temperature rising because I didn't put everything inside an insulated box or anything. It's just the temperature inside the house over here getting warmed up over the day. So I think this data is very, very interesting. I would have guessed that the RTIC probably won't do as well as the YETI, but in reality, it does even better. If you look at the weight of this thing, YETI is 3 pounds 8.5 ounces. RTIC is 2 pounds 6 ounces. So 1 pound 2 ounces heavier because it's using thicker and heavier materials. The zipper is thicker, the lining is thicker, probably the insulation is a little bit heavier as well. There's also these decorative things that weighs more. The soft piece of the strap is a little bit longer. Something harder to answer is the durability of this cooler. What we can tell is that if I squeeze the inner lining, you can kind of tell how thick it is. On the YETI, if I do the same thing, I can tell it's slightly thicker, and this would contribute to it being more durable. You can rub it some more and it's not going to create a hole. With these coolers, if it develops a hole, you can no longer use it because water is going to get in. But in terms of the seams, they're about 3/4 inch here. Towards the bottom, it's about 1/2 inch. The seams are roughly the same width here, also at the bottom. So I think the main concern here would be the thickness of the material. The zipper is a finer tooth, so not as much material. Each of the tooth on the zipper could break off more easily than in the YETI because bigger teeth means it's harder to break off. So if you just need a cooler and you don't need it to last, years and years, go with the RTIC. It keeps drinks cool very well. However, it's a little bit smaller. But if you want like a tank that would last really long and you're willing to pay a bit more for it, then go for the YETI. Don't forget to check out my affiliate links for these products down in the video description below. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time.